Hello students, how are you? I hope you all are fine there. Today we are going to discuss the second session of problem solving using flowcharts, decomposition, why it is needed, and some example of decomposition. We'll start with the flowchart. What is the flowchart? The flowchart is a graphical or the pictorial representation of step-by-step solution of a given problem. Flowcharts are very easy to understand than the algorithm, as pictures are always more effective than text. A flowchart is a bunch of boxes or graphical symbols connected with the lines for describing some kind of behavior. In next slide we will see some basic symbols of flowchart. First symbol is flow lines, arrows. These are used to indicate what will be the next execution step. Second symbol we have oval, which is used for starting or ending of a process, which is called terminals. Next symbol we have a rectangle box. It is used to indicate the processes or calculations or assignments. Next symbol we have a diamond. Diamond symbol is used for condition, testing a condition. It is also called decision. All those sorts of statements in which we have to give the result either true or false or yes or no, we'll use the diamond symbol. Parallelogram is used for input and output. Whenever we have to read some data from the user, we'll use input, or whenever we want to give the information to the user, we'll use output. Sometimes we have to give the additional information or remarks or documentation in the format of comments. If a rectangle has two vertical lines, then it is indicated it is a predefined process or a method or a function. When we draw a flowchart, sometimes it does not complete on a one page, it can go to many pages also. If you want to go for branching on the same page, we will use circle for on page connector, and if it will be somewhere else on some other page, then we'll use the offline page connector with the label values. We'll see one example how to draw a flowchart to find the sum of two numbers. So what we should do, first we'll start the process by terminating symbols. Then we have to read the value. For reading we will use the parallelogram. We have taken two values n1 and n2. Say I have given n1 10 and n2 20. Then what we will do, we have to add these numbers. I have assigned sum is equal to n1 plus n2. You see here the calculation is going on. So here it is a rectangle, it is a process. Then after that we want to print the value of sum. So again we take a parallelogram for showing the output statement. What it will print? It will print 30. Now sum is there. Now we have to stop the process. Again terminating symbol, stop. Now in this you have seen we have executed in a sequential fashion. First statement, then second, then third. So in this flowchart we will use the sequential execution. Sequential execution means the statement is executing one after another. This is the simplest one of flow of control. First statement 1 will be executed, then statement 2, then statement 3. One by one all statement will be executed. This is called sequential execution. Example, we have taken n1 10, n2 20, then sum is equal to n1 plus n2 30, then print sum 30. You see from first to last, one by one all statement will be executed. This is called sequential execution. Sometimes we have to do the condition, check the condition. Depending upon the condition we have to do different course of actions. We'll take one more example. Suppose I want to draw a flowchart to validate the eligibility of a voter. Now a voter is eligible only when his age is more than equal to 18 years. 18 or more than 18 are eligible for voting, and less than 18 years are not eligible for voting. So what we should do? Start. Read age. Suppose I have given age 16. Now if age is greater than equal to 18, our age is 16, If age is greater than 18, then that person is eligible for voting. If age is less than 18, then that voter is not eligible for voting. And then stop. Here our age is 16. 16 is greater than or equal to 18. False. Message will come, the voter is not eligible for voting, and stop the process. Suppose I have given the age 22. 22 is greater than or equal to 18. Then condition becomes true. Then I will get voter is eligible for voting. I will get this message, and then process will stop. This is called selection control or decision control, in which either this part will execute or false part will execute. We'll see this with the selection execution. Means execution of a statement depending upon a condition. The statement is also called decision control. It helps in making the decision. In languages, Python language, it will be implemented with the help of if else, or if else if. How we are going to do? First we have to evaluate a condition. There are two possibilities. Either condition will be true or condition will be false. Suppose if condition is false, we have to done one course of action. If condition is true, then we have to do another course of action. So either this statement will be executed or this statement will be executed depending upon this condition. This is called selection. Next we have, sometimes we have some certain set of statements which are going to execute again and again, which is called iterations or looping. We'll take one example. I want to find out the sum of n numbers. Start. Reading. We have to take n. How many numbers we want to read? We have taken two variables, sum equal to 0, count equal to 0. Read number. That number will be added to sum. Counter will be incremented by 1. Then again we check the condition. If counter is less than number, if it is true, again we have to read the number, again add, again do the checking, again read the number. Now it keeps on. If condition is true, the counter is less than number, we keep on reading the number and adding to sum and incrementing the counter by 1. If this counter becomes false, we will come out of the loop. Now here I am using a on page connector. Go to A. Now if there is a after that what will do? If condition is false, it go to A, there it will do print statement and process will stop. We'll take one example. I have taken n equal to 4. Then sum becomes 0, count becomes 0. Read number. I have given number 5. Then sum becomes 0 plus 5, 5. Counter becomes 0 plus 1, 1. Again 1 is less than 4. Count equal to 1, n equal to 4. True. Again we read new number. I have given 3. Then sum becomes 5 plus 3, 8. Count becomes 1 plus 1, 2. Again condition. Count is less than n. 2 is less than 4. Again true. Again read a number. Number becomes 6. Sum becomes 8 plus 6, 14. Count becomes 2 plus 1, 3. Now again 3 is less than 4. True. Again we read a new number. I have given 4. Now sum becomes 14 plus 4, 18. Count becomes 3 plus 1, 4. Again count is less than n. 4 is less than 4. I want to read the 4 numbers. First number, second number, third number, fourth number. Already we have read the 4 numbers. Now 4 is less than 4. False. It will not go on to read again. It will come out of the loop. When it becomes false, it will print value of sum. Value of sum will be 18 and stop the process. You see here this statement will execute again and again depending upon the condition. This is called iterative control or looping. Now in looping or iteration, certain set of statement keeps on executing again and again depending upon a condition. There are loops in Python for and while. What we'll do, we'll check for a condition. If condition is false, we'll come out of the loop. If condition is true, we keep on executing the statement, again check the condition, again true, execute the statement, keeps on execution until this condition become false. When condition will become false, we will come out of the loop. I hope so it is clear to you. Decomposition. What is the decomposition? Decomposition means breaking a complex problem into a simpler one. The basic idea of complex problem is breaking down a complex problem into a simpler problem so that it is easier to solve the simpler problem, and again combining the simpler problem into a logical way to find the solution of the complex problem. Why we need the decomposition? Breaking down a complex problem into a sub-problem means each sub-problem can be examined in a complete detail. Each sub-problem can be solved independently by different persons. Having different team working on a different sub-problem can be advantageous because specific sub-problem can be assigned to those teams which are expert in solving those types of problems. How a computer program do decomposition? A computer programmer do exactly the same thing. While writing a complex program, they will often break the code into smaller parts. We'll take example of a real life. Think of a mobile phone. A mobile phone is made of lot of different parts: touch screens, batteries, cases, then antennas. So what company will do? They will decompose the different unit of the mobile phone to different manufacturing units, and then when they get the component, they will assemble at a one place. We take a real life example how decomposition can be used in the programming. Suppose I want to find the sum of this following series. Now you see here in this series there is a factorial of numbers: first factorial, 2 factorial, 3 factorial, n factorial. One logic we have to write for the power x raised to power 1, x raised to power 2, x raised to power 3. So what we can do, I can break this problem into simpler problems. I can write one process to calculate power, one module or process to calculate the factorial, and one module to do the calculation. Apply a loop, and after loop call power function, call fact function, and add to sum and print the sum. You can see this problem can be further divided into 3 sub problems: to calculate power, to calculate factorial, and to calculate calculation. In this way, a complex problem can be broken down into simpler problems. Now, decomposition. What decomposition means? Large problems can be trackered with divide and conquer method. Each sub-problem at the same level of detail. Each sub-problem can be solved independently. The solution to sub-problem can be combined to give the original problem. What are the advantages? Different people can work on different sub-problem, which means parallelism may be possible. Maintenance of sub-problem is easier. What are the disadvantages? The solution for the sub-problem might not be combined to get the complex problems. Poorly understood problems are hard to decompose. We'll take some examples. Decomposition can work well. For example, suppose you want to design a menu for a restaurant. So you can design appetizer menu, entry menu, dessert menu, drink menu, and you can combine this. Decomposition always does not work. For example, a writer wants to write a play. For a play, there are different types of character. So here it cannot be possible. One writer will write play for one character, another writer will write the dialogues for second character. It should be done by one person only. We cannot divide into sub parts. For one character, one writer; for second character, second writer. And decomposition is not always possible for very, very complex problems. For example, how to manage the economy. For impossible problems, how water can be converted into petrol. For basic problems which cannot be decomposed, for example, adding 1 to 1. Thank you.